Hey guys, it's Gabby. Welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how I did these tie-dye nails, and these are seriously so quick and easy to do, so we're just going to get right into the tutorial. So I'm starting off with a dry white base, and I did go ahead and put a barrier around my nail just to help with cleanup, so I will have those linked down below. But basically I'm taking a white nail polish and making random little dots around my nail, and I'm just going to be repeating the same step with an orange nail polish. And you do want to work pretty quickly because you don't want the white nail polish to dry while you're doing the orange nail polish. So after that, I'm just going to take a sandwich bag and put it on top of my nail, and then I'm just using my finger to smush down the colors and just smush them together. Basically, you're just taking your finger and rubbing it along the top, and then you'll see when you pull off the bag, it gives this really cool effect. And I've actually done this before, and I realized, I was like, oh my gosh, this kind of looks like the whole tie-dye trend that's going around. So after that, you're just going to remove your barrier, and there is a tie-dye nail. It's super easy to do, you guys, I'm telling you. And if you don't have a sandwich bag, you can also just use a random piece of plastic. So yeah, you can just add your top coat, and I will be showing you guys the glossy finish and a matte finish. And all the colors I'm using in this video will be linked down below. I was actually going to show them in the video, but I just felt like it took up so much time. So let me know if you guys want me to actually show the colors, or if you're fine with me just listing it in the description box. But yeah, anyways, I decided to do different colors just because why not? And I did a blue and purple this time. And I don't know if you guys can notice, but with the purple, I actually didn't shake my nail polish. So it was still a really weird kind of consistency, but I actually loved how it turned out because it gave it more of like a water colored effect. So you can try to do this without like rolling or shaking your nail polish, but it is up to you. So again, I'm just taking it and then smushing it onto my nail. And again, you want to make sure your base color is completely dry before you go to add different drops of color on top, because then when you go to smush it down, then it'll be actually taking off the base polish, which you don't want to happen. And if you do have any remaining cleanup to do, you can just use a brush and nail polish remover to get anything off. And I'm actually doing that right here because the tape thing around my nail sometimes leaves kind of a sticky residue, so I just use nail polish remover to wipe it off of my skin. So yeah, again, I'm just gonna finish off with a top coat, and here is the final look. I did end up doing I did two more examples using this method, and I just love this because you can really use any color you want, and you don't have to start with the white base like I'm doing, but I do feel like the colors show up better when you use a white base. And something else to keep in mind, when you go to make your dots, you want to keep them, even though they're smaller, you want to make sure it's a big enough dot just so it has, okay, this doesn't make sense. You want to make sure that it has enough nail polish in the dot, because if it's too small, then it won't spread right. So you do want to keep them a little bit thicker. And you can also play around with this look by just making your dots bigger in general. So if you did 1 to 2 dots instead of like 6 smaller ones, it will give you a different look. So here is the last example using this method. And this was actually inspired by this shirt that I saw, and it looked like spot on. I was so happy with it. I don't even know how that worked out like that, but I'll insert a picture of it just so you guys can see. So yeah, I think this is actually my favorite out of this method, but the black one that you guys are about to see, definitely my favorite out of all of these. Just wait till you see this, guys. So basically for this method, I am going to be starting off again with a dry base and a barrier, except this time I'm going to be using a makeup sponge, and you can get these like anywhere. I'll have some linked down below too. But basically I'm taking this tan nail polish and just making random dots on the makeup sponge. So it's kind of the same concept as before, except on a sponge. And then I'm going to go around it and do black dot blob looking things. And these don't have to be perfect. If anything, you want them to be really random and be different shapes and things, because that's going to give you the random look on your nail. And that's actually what I love about all these designs. It's kind of random. Like, you don't know how it's going to turn out until you're done, and it's like, oh, I like that. After I apply the colors to the sponge, I just dabbed it onto my nail a few times, and then I'm just going to repeat this step and try to keep the polish in the same place I put it before. But if it ends up in a different spot, it's really not a big deal. And then again, I'm just going to dab it onto my nail. And I did try to line it up to kind of keep it in the same area when I went to sponge it on my nail. And I did that for this particular look because I wanted to make sure the brown was showing up against the black. But guys, look how cool that looks. Seriously, this was inspired by the black bleached outfits. I don't know if you guys have seen those, but I'll try to insert a picture of that too. But yeah, inspired by that. And I wanted to get a little bit more abstract with it. So I took the small end of my sponge and just added brown to it and dabbed it in a few places. And then I did the same thing with the black. And this is optional, but I just wanted to do that. And again, when you're done, remove your barrier, finish any cleanup. And if you don't have a barrier, you can also just use Scotch tape and put it around your nail. And it's not going to be as good as these, but I mean, it'll do something. So yeah, this again is the finished look. I love this. Oh, it just looks so cool to me. And you can make each nail different. Like, yes. Anyways, I wanted to try out a few more using this method. And if you're like, whoa, like that one was way too dark, I did not like it, this one's for you. So it is pretty much the same method, but there are a few things that are slightly different. So I'm going to be using 3 colors this time and then the white base. So a total of 4 different colors. And with this one, I kind of let them overlap a little more, and I didn't stay in one spot when I went to go and sponge it onto my nail because I wanted the colors to kind of blend together a little more. And also, after I applied the colors, I took a white nail polish and made little dots over just the whole thing, just because I didn't want to lose the white completely. And if this doesn't make sense, I feel like it's better explained when you watch me. But yeah, I'm just dabbing that around my nail, and then again, when that dries out, I'm just going to repeat this process. And I ended up refilling my sponge for a total of 2 times, again with this one. And if you want the color darker, then you might want to do a 3rd sponging or even a 4th, but I wanted to keep it with that nice pastel look because I thought that looked so cute. I feel like this nail is just the perfect look for spring and summer. And you know what? You could match your nails. Like if you do one of those tie-dye sets, you can match your nails to the set. Is it aggressive? Probably, but it's an idea. You could. Anyways, as you can see, I just dabbed that on and then removed my barrier, which is actually so satisfying to watch. Personally, I think so. So yeah, after that, you can add your top coat. And I do always like a matte finish better, but I feel like especially for these, it just looks better matte because it looks more real. Does that make sense? I don't know. But here is the last example with this method. I went with a periwinkle blue, a lilac purple, and an orange shade. And I love that the color combinations for these are seriously endless. That's why I ended up doing so many examples, because I couldn't decide what I wanted to do. But yeah, you could do whatever. I couldn't think of a color. Anyways, this purple color that I was using was pretty light, like a little bit lighter than I wanted it to be. So I ended up taking a sponge and just going back in with a different purple, just adding it over the purple spots that were already there. So if you find that some colors just aren't showing up like you want them to, you can go in with that specific color. So that's a little tip you can try out. But yeah, here is the finished look for that. So I do have another method that is kind of a fail, but not a fail. I don't know. I'm kind of torn how I feel about it. So basically what I did is, again, take a makeup sponge, and I'm taking a blue shade and kind of making rings onto the sponge. So I don't know if you've probably seen this pattern before, but I was trying to recreate the tie-dye pattern. I can't talk. I was trying to recreate the tie-dye pattern that some clothes have. And then I went back in with the white and went in between each line. And the problem with this is that I kind of moved the sponge too much on my nail, which you guys will see in a second. So it ended up just kind of smushing together. So if you do try this, I would try to keep your sponge still, but you guys can see it kind of just, it did not work. So what I did was I took the white nail polish and put it on the small side of the sponge. Basically, I'm just sponging in some white lines throughout the nail, and then I'm gonna repeat the same thing with the navy blue. So it kind of gives that same tie-dye effect, but I don't know. Like I honestly can't decide if I like it or not, because part of me does, but then part of me is like, what is this? So let me know what you guys think of this design. And low-key, this kind of reminds me of an ocean. I don't know if anybody else is kind of getting that too. But yeah, I just continued randomly sponging around my nail and then added a top coat. For the last method, I wanted to include a way to do tie-dye nails that just wasn't as messy. So for this one, you don't need a barrier or tape or anything, but I'm just going to use a makeup sponge and apply the nail polish to the small end of the sponge again. This is very similar, but I'm going to be using a few shades of pink and purple and also white and just sponging it randomly around my nail. So for this, you do want to kind of overlap the colors when you go to sponge it onto your nail, and you do have a lot more control over where the colors are going just because you're using the small end so you can actually see like what's going on. So yeah, that is it for the different tie-dye looks. You guys can really get creative with these, and they're honestly really fun and easy to do. And you guys can let me know which tie-dye look was your favorite, and I will talk to you in my next video. Bye.